Hi, this is Mac Bolin from IllinoisMatmen.com. We're going to be doing a preview on the 27th Annual Al Dvorak Memorial Invitational. This preview is brought to you by GEI Wrestling Apparel. You want it? Go earn it. For those not familiar with the Al Dvorak Memorial Invitational, this tournament takes place in Illinois, named after Al Dvorak, a former Glenbard East High School wrestling star who died in an automobile accident back in 1988. Since its inception, the Dvorak Memorial has been the toughest in-season tournament in the state of Illinois, year in and year out. It has lived up to that billing. Originally hosted at Glenbard East High School, past few years ago it was at Dundee Crown in Carpentersville, and this year the 27th edition of the Dvorak is taking place, as it has for the past few years, in McChesney Park, Harlem, near Rockford. Year in and year out, Dvorak draws some of the toughest teams in the state of Illinois. This year we have Marmion Academy, to name one, Marist. Montini is out this year. Lockport, Lincoln Way Central, Rockton Hononegah, Glenbard North, and the list goes on and on and on. In the past, several top out-of-state teams have come to this tournament. Bishop Lynch from Texas, Iowa City West, which is coming back this year after a year absence. A few years ago, St. Edward in Ohio, which Coach Heffernan, love to have you back. Also, from last year, two teams returning, Milton, Wisconsin, Mason, Ohio, and as I mentioned before, Iowa City West returning. And then for the first time this year from Florida, we have Lake Highland Prep. Guys, you live in Florida. Why on earth would you want to come to Illinois in December? Well, their head coach is a Glenbard North alumni, so I guess that explains it. Okay, let's get started off with the 106-pound weight class. Now, last year, 106 pounds was actually a pretty difficult weight class this tournament. Austin O'Connor from St. Rita, who went on to win state, won it. This year, you have Kirk Johansson, who I have listed as the favorite from Glenbard North, Hazen Rice from Schaumburg, and depending on what weight he's at, nationally ranked from Lake Highland Prep, Florida, Joey Silva, at 106 preseason, was in the top 10, but they say now that he's up at 113. If he's at 106, I like him to challenge Johansson. If not, Johansson from Glenbard North is a clear favorite in that weight class. Move on to 113 next. Okay, at 113 pounds, I have another Glenbard North wrestler, also nationally ranked and ranked number 2 in the state, Austin Gomez from Glenbard North. Also in the mix, Gallardo from Niles, Notre Dame, Burlington from Yorkville, and actually the only out-of-state placer last year, Donovan at 106 pounds from Mason, Ohio. Also from out-of-state, Iowa City West, we have Nelson Brands, who could also be in the mix. Brands, Iowa, Brands. Where do I know that name from? All right, now we're going to move on to what I think, in my opinion, or what I feel is the toughest weight class at the tournament this year, and that's 120 pounds. Now, out of state, right off the bat, you have Roe Eater from Iowa West Central, Iowa City West. He's a 3-time state placer, currently ranked number 2. Add to that Cullen, Lukanich, Siltzer, Augustine, Rubino, and right there, this weight class right here has depth and it has star power. Going to move on to 126 and 132 next. Okay, we're going to move on to 126 and 132. I'm going to do both these weight classes at the same time. You have Austin O'Connor, who is currently ranked number 1 at 132. Word is he's certified at 126. Now, he may come and test the waters at 126 here at Dvorak. If so, O'Connor is definitely my favorite to win one at 126, or he may wait for the 2-pound allowance at 128. regardless, if he is at 126, it's going to make for a very interesting dynamic down the road when the state series starts. Now, if O'Connor is at 132, I like an out-of-stater, Jake Brindley from Lake Highland Prep. Just won the Graves tournament in Florida, two-time state champ. Sophomore, was also an 8th place finisher at the Super 32. So he's going to be my #1 pick at 126. You also have Thurston from Wheaton North, Peterson from Crystal Lake Central. Now, if O'Connor's at 132, again, O'Connor's my favorite to win that weight class. You also have the #2, Thurston, the other Thurston from Wheaton North. Add to that A.J. Jaffe, who lost a tight overtime head-to-head match in a duel a few weeks back with St. Rita to O'Connor, 8-5 in overtime. Along with that, you have Ziedzik and Powers. Powers from Rockton Hononegah, and Rockton Hononegah probably also fits into the team race down the road. So we'll move to 138 pounds next. At 138 pounds, we have returning state placer, 3rd place at 126 pounds, Shane Oster. And then last year, state champ from Dakota at 138 pounds, and finalist at the last year's edition of Dvorak, Wolf from Dakota. Throw into the mix Brzezowski from Niles Notre Dame, and a dark horse at this weight, Chaloni from Marmion Academy. Move on to 145 next. Okay, now at 145 pounds, we have probably the 2nd toughest, possibly the toughest weight class in the tournament. 145 pounds features Rockton Hononegah's Fernie Silver, who is a runner-up at state last year at 145 pounds. Eric Barone from Crystal Lake South, who is a 5th place finisher. Add to that Callahan from Marmion Academy, who last weekend finished 8th at the Ironman. Also has a head-to-head win in the dual meet over Marist's Nick Gasparo, who's also listed in here. Then you have a 2A stud in Jose Champagne from Marion Catholic, down at 145 pounds after he was a state placer at 152 in Class 2A last year. Add to the mix Logan Gruska from Schaumburg, and then on top of that, another state placer, 5th last year, in Jake Tucker from... Hang on a second. Hello? What's that? Wow. Okay. Well, it would seem that Tucker from Mount Carmel's out due to an injury. Jake, heal quick. If you don't make it back this season, hope to see you next year. Now we'll move on to 152 pounds. 152 pounds is interesting. You have Roland from Willowbrook, state placer last year, and then a potential matchup of 2 former teammates. Hall, who now wrestles for Mount Carmel, teammate Casper from Marist. Add to that Timmons, Tanner Anthony, and Matt Ferraro. Now in the dual meet, Casper from Marist already has a win over Ferraro from Marmion Academy. For this weight class, though, I like Roland. I think Hull, given his funky style, excellent balance, very athletic, could pull the upset. We'll move down into 160 pounds now. Okay, at 160 pounds, 2 favorites in my opinion represent 2 state placers. Trace Carrillo, Marmion Academy, Joey Gunther, Libertyville. Now, interesting thing, you could have Carver James here from Dakota. He's been out with an injury. I don't know if he's going to be back, and he could be at 160 or maybe even at 152. Anyway, in this weight class, I like Trace Carrillo to win it. Just barely finished, he just barely missed placing at the Ironman last week. Like his intensity. He's a guy who every time you see him get ready for a match, he has that look on his face like he's ready to kick ass on the whole world. That being said, move on to 170. Okay, at 170 pounds, leading off, we have Class 3A state runner-up, Tyler DeMoss from Rockton Hononegah. He's my favorite, but this could be an interesting weight class. You have freshman Jack Jessen, standout wrestler from Willowbrook, and then defending Class 1A champ, Baytorn from Bishop Mack out of Kankakee. Add to that Glenbard North's Jameek Davis. I think the Moss will still win this, but again, this could be an interesting weight and starts a run of these heavier weights that I think are going to go a long way to deciding who wins the team championship. On to 182. At 182 pounds, we have a very interesting setup here. This is what I'm going to call the grudge match weight class. Nathan Traxler from Marmion Academy, Alex Benoit from Marist. Two met in the finals last year at Dvorak. Two met in the third place match at State last year, won by Benoit. A couple weeks ago, in the dual meet, they met again, this time won by Traxler in a close match. Traxler coming off a fourth place finish at the Ironman a week ago. Should be a very interesting matchup, but I clearly see these two meeting in the finals. You have a couple others in there, Dvorak from Lincoln Way Central and Wegner from Glenbard North. Moving on to 195. 195 pounds, a weight class where injuries are going to have a huge impact on the order of finish. Tyler Johnson from Lockport, Kaylor Hecox from host school McChesney Park, Harlem, rumored that they're both out with injuries. These two met in the finals last year of this tournament, and the third place finisher, Andrew Marsden from Crystal Lake Central, went on to pin his way through the 195 pound weight class in the 2A class tournament. So Marsden, the favorite, with Johnson and Hecox out, and then you have a couple others, Greenberg from Glenbard North, Worker from Mount Carmel, who will be in the mix, I think, for second or third place. But again, Andrew Marsden, clearly the favorite at this weight class with the other two out. So now we'll move on to 220. 220 pounds. Again, another injury impacting this weight class. I don't think Lucas Warren from Marmion Academy is going to be here for the tournament. Don't know when he's going to return, but for this tournament, with Warren out, I think it's pretty much wide open. I really don't have a favorite. Ferguson from Yorkville, Kelly from Lincoln Way Central, Zalapi from Rockton Hononegah, Dunsing from Libertyville, and McKnight from 2A Crystal Lake Central. I think they're all pretty close as far as rankings go, so it's going to come down to whoever just has that good day, who has that great tournament to decide this weight class right here. And again, given the teams, this weight class could go a long ways to deciding in the team race. Big boys next, 285. Okay, 285 pounds. We're led off here by Ditchman from Lincoln Way Central, finished 6th in state last year at the weight. You have Reyes from Mount Carmel, Ford from Marist, Neal from Glenbard North. Though Ditchman is probably the favorite, I'm going to pick Ford from Marist in the upset to win this weight class. He finished third at Dvorak last year, had a tough sectional. I think for this tournament, early season, I like his chances at first place. We'll go on to discuss the team competition next. Last year in the team competition, it was pretty easy to pick the top three teams. Marist, first place, Montini second, Marmion Academy third. This year it's going to be a little bit more difficult. Montini's out of the picture because of a scheduling conflict. They're going to be at another tournament Friday, Saturday. They will not be at the Dvorak. Having said that, I think given their depth, Marmion Academy, in my opinion, is the clear favorite for first place. Came off a 15th place finish at the Ironman. They only had two placers, Callahan 8th, Traxler 4th, but scored enough points from other wrestlers winning matches in the round of 32, round of 16, and quarterfinals to finish 15th. Therefore, I'm going to take Marmion Academy as the favorite to win the tournament. Now, having said that, going down places 2 through 6, I don't really have a clear favorite. Start off with Glenbard North. Gold Dot, Panther Pride, whatever you want to call it, Hans guys always show up. Given the star power they have down in the lower weights, I think they have a very good chance, if they get points from some of the guys in the upper weights, to have a shot at second place. Having said that, I'm going to move on to a team I really like, Rockton Hononegah. Hononegah, 4th place in dual team state, loaded with talent. Last year had an absolutely disastrous Dvorak tournament, finishing 9th place, losing a lot of guys, took a lot of losses in the second round and in the quarterfinals. So for them, it's a family affair. It's a family affair. It's a family affair. Okay, sorry for the Sly and the Family Stone moment there. What I mean is, the wrestling families for the Indians have got to come through for them to bust into this top 3 or 4. Meaning Raider, Powers, Silvas, Zalapis. They lost Zach Benkovic to graduation last year, so I don't think there's any Benkoviches in the lineup this year. Chip, you need to get on that. Moving down, Marist, still a good team. Last year they pulled the huge upset, outpointed Montini, won the tournament. This year the Red Hawks took a lot of losses to their lineup. They still have a lot of talent. Again, they should be in the mix here. Then you have a few teams I think that are pretty close. Lincoln Way Central, got some good guys down low. For Lincoln Way Central, who incidentally finished 2nd at Barrington last week, or a few weeks ago in the early season tournament, Lincoln Way Central's got to get the production up top. From 170 to 285, they're capable of having all those guys place. So they need to have a good tournament from the big guys, still get the points from some of their lower guys, the guys in the lower weights, to make it into 2nd, 3rd, or 4th. After that, both Lockport and Libertyville were top 10 finishers in the tournament last year. Both teams took huge hits to their lineups due to graduation. And then, as mentioned before, it looks like 195-pound favorite Tyler Johnson for Lockport going to be out of the tournament. Down from there, I think Yorkville may sneak in. Finished 3rd at Barrington. They've got depth, maybe not the star power, but they could surprise. Now, last year, Dakota finished 7th, put 4 guys in the finals. Unfortunately for Dakota, 2 of them graduated, Josh Alber and Zimmerman. On top of that, if Carver James is out, I don't look to see them even coming close to duplicating last year's success. Probably still have a finalist in Wolf. So right there, that's pretty much going to wrap it up for the team competition. And I would just like to say, if you want to catch the action, you can follow it on trackwrestling.com, or if you want to watch the live video feed, it's available on flowwrestling.com with your paid subscription for Flow Pro. Again, I'll say, this is Mac Boland, IllinoisMatmen.com, and I'd like to remind you, success follows blood, sweat, and pain. If you want it, go earn it.